What's going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you for another WWE live review of Monday Night Raw. The Raw that took place last night, July 31st, 2017, in my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And yes, I was in attendance last night with my good friend Daniel Gaza. If you follow me on Twitter, check out the photo of our seats. We had some pretty exciting seats in section 110, row F, at the PPG Paints Arena, Miss Console Energy Center. I'm sorry this video is kind of late. I've just been really caught up with a lot of stuff lately, the past few days or so, and I'm just really trying to sneak this in real quick. There's a chance I might not get to watch SmackDown live tonight. I might have to catch it later, but I just have a lot of work I got to do, so I thank you all for your patience. I will make my newest SummerSlam card predictions video as soon as possible as well. Again, there's just been a lot going on in July, and hopefully in August have a little bit of a breather room with my job not being as busy and not as chaotic. There's been some issues there, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Monday Night Raw. And overall, this was a great 2-hour show of Monday Night Raw. Oh, phone's going off. Hold on. Hello? Oh. Okay. Oh, yeah, that part. Yeah. All right, talk to you later. Bye. I've been reminded that Raw is still 3 hours, and last night's show in Pittsburgh showed that Raw could be a solid 2-hour show because those first 2 hours were great. The last hour, though, sucked. And it already started right away whenever they're advertising the main event coming up next. Well, I'm sorry. What should have been the main event, the triple threat match between Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and Samoa Joe, that should have been the main event. Ended up happening to end like the 9 o'clock hour. At the 10 o'clock hour, I remember Dan was like, you know, if this show ended right now, I'd be happy. I don't know why this is not the main event. And that third hour absolutely sucked. Like, I don't remember one thing that I actually enjoyed that last hour, and that was the segments between Ambrose and Rollins. We'll get to that a little later. But overall, despite that last hour, we still had a pretty solid show. But this shows that how inconsistent WWE can be and how that third hour sometimes can be a cancer. And that's why I put the third hour of Raw on the list last night. Yes, I took the list of PPG Paints Arena. First time I ever taken the list to Raw. But let's get into the show. And before I actually review Raw, I want to talk about, because I did see main event. I know no one watches main event. The two matches they had, I got two things to say about main event. Both matches that happened were actually pretty solid. And one first question is, why does WWE not yet put Grand Metalik on TV? He had a great showing in the main event match last night on main event. When main event comes out for the July 31st episode of Raw, please go check it out. Grand Metalik felt so good to see him wrestle again. He looked great. Cruiserweight Classic. He teamed up with Lince Dorado against Drew Gulak and the Brian Kendrick. Grand Metalik just looked so good, so fresh. I just don't understand why they're not using him on Monday Night Raw or even on 205 Live yet. Well, it doesn't matter because I wouldn't watch it anyways, but still, why are you not having this guy on TV? And then Emma and Mickie James, they had a really good match. I don't know why they couldn't have that on the main show, and a couple matches could have been put on main event, but we'll get to that stuff later. But I just had to say, you know, main event had actually two really solid matches last night that I highly recommend checking out. So we start off Raw with Kurt Angle coming out to a really nice pop from his hometown crowd of Pittsburgh, PA. We were all chanting, "You suck, you suck." Pretty much just saying, talking about how this is going to be a big show tonight because they're going to have a triple threat between the three contenders for Brock Lesnar's Universal title at SummerSlam. We're having Miz TV with his son, Jason Jordan, as a special guest. He announced Big Cass and Big Show is going to be happening tonight. So he had a big hype for the show, you know, thanking the fans for all the support to, you know, get back to WWE and where he's at today. And it was a nice little opening segment, pretty much saying, you know, thank you, let's get the show rolling. But then Brock Lesnar came out, a surprise. Well, he was advertised for the show, but Brock Lesnar comes out with Paul Heyman, and Heyman doesn't even introduce himself. He goes, I see the angle you're going here, and pretty much says how, you're pretty much turning SummerSlam into, let's take the Universal title off Brock Lesnar. So he pretty much just ran into how, it wasn't fair. He put him in a fatal four-way and how Brock can lose the title, yada, 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 the usual stuff who people who are champions don't like about being fatal four-ways. But then he drops a bombshell and says, if Brock loses the Universal title at SummerSlam, both Brock and Heyman will leave WWE. So are the rumors true that is Brock Lesnar going to be going back to UFC and he's going to be leaving WWE for good? I mean, I know his contract expires, I think, right after WrestleMania 34, I think. So, I mean, Brock could be heading now. We'll have to wait and see. But yes, good hype for the triple threat match that should have been the main event, which technically it was if you would have ended Raw after the second hour. But a good segment and definitely raise the stacks. Like, is Lesnar gonna lose? Is he gonna leave WWE? We'll have to wait and see and find out at that amazing fatal four-way match is coming up at SummerSlam. As Paul Heyman said, between some of the biggest heavyweight classes in WWE history. I look forward to seeing those four clash, especially after that triple threat match. But we'll get to that shortly. We then had a match between the Hardy Boys and the Club with the Revival on commentary. I of course, couldn't hear what the Revival said on commentary since, I was in the stands live. But this was a pretty solid match between these two. You got a good amount of offense and a couple of good twists of fates. And Jeff Hardy won the match for the Hardy Boys with the Swanton Bomb. And as I say every time before he prepares to do that, because I'm going to quote what Jeff Hardy said after his match at WrestleMania 33. He says, I'm 39 years old and I can still do a Swanton Bomb. So, and for the first time I ever got to see the Hardy Boys wrestle live, not just on TV, but in person, it felt pretty cool because I was really interested in seeing the Hardy Boys come back to WWE, and they did. Put a pretty solid match here between them and Gallows and Anderson. So they went in, and afterwards they had a nice beatdown between these three teams. The Revival took off the headsets, came after them, and attacked the Revival. Then the Club came in, and then I think Jeff Hardy took them all out with a nice dive off of the stage. So a nice beatdown, and you're wondering what they're going to do with these teams. If there is a direction that seems that they're going to be going for the Raw tag titles, but what's up with these teams? We'll have to wait and see what happens upcoming. But a good sprawl and a good segment afterwards. We then have Renee Young interviewing Dean Ambrose and asked about what happened last week with the match. And I asked her to get back together, and he said the two look good together. He hints at him saying no, pretty much saying that, I still don't trust Seth Rollins. And Seth came by, and he's like, how about it, man? It felt like old times. But he finally said, I don't trust you. Even though everyone wants it, and even Dean said, even I want it a little bit, I'm not going to get burned again by you, and just walks away. So pretty much showing that, even though they won last week, Dean Ambrose doesn't want anything to do still with Seth Rollins. I mean, he get fired up and he misses it a little bit, but he's having trust issues. And as I said probably last week, I'm liking this story, and my friend Daniel Guiza just actually shared with me a link to an article on Bleacher Report about possible situations for this Rollins and Ambrose angle to go. I know some people were thinking maybe a match between these two at SummerSlam, or maybe just them they team up, because what it looks like they're going to go with them having a tag title match against Sheamus and Cesaro at SummerSlam, which I'm for that. And here's a situation I would do. If the rumors are correct that they want to build eventually to a WrestleMania match between a heel Ambrose and a face Rollins, do it this way. Have Ambrose and Rollins somehow get involved in a tag team championship match at SummerSlam. Win the titles, because if they win the titles, Dean Ambrose will be the first Shield member to be a Grand Slam champion. And then have a little run or something with the tag titles. And then when it's time for the Revival to win the titles, have Ambrose and Rollins drop the titles to the Revival. And then after they do that, then have Ambrose turn on Rollins, somewhere in there you gotta have Roman Reigns here with them, have a full Shield reunion. That's the only thing I ask to do before you turn Dean Ambrose heel, who desperately needs a heel turn. Before you do that, you gotta give one short Shield run. That's what you gotta do. And him and Rollins being the tag champions would be good. Help more tag teams to rebuild, since the tag team division has just been deleted slowly due to the amount of teams splitting up, which has been really annoying. But that's the case, unfortunately. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, if Ambrose would turn on Rollins, the thing is, have Ambrose first admit he's the greatest Shield member because he's won all the championships if he wins the tag titles. And then, pretty much his beef being, I couldn't trust Seth Rollins. I tried to trust him again, but what bothered me the most is that you people were behind him more than you were behind me. It makes sense. Storytelling right there. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts down in the live chat, down in the comment section. We'll see what happens with that. Let me pull this back up. And then, while the next match is getting set up, we didn't have Rollins just, continue to walk around, and he runs into Sheamus and Cesaro bragging about how strong their bond is, and how Seth was laughing off and saying, "Let's fight. Who wants to fight me?" And we were hoping it would be Seth Rollins and Cesaro, but instead we were probably going to be in Seth Rollins and Sheamus later on in the night. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Should still be a decent match. And then we had a boring, the only thing I did not enjoy about the first 2 hours of Raw was this really boring 6-man tag match between Arya Daivari, Tony Nese, TJ Perkins. Ooh, look, Smart Gal Moa actually wrote TJ Perkins and not TJP. Thank you, Smart Gal. Or Anthony Mango, whatever your name is, because I hate it when they call him TJP. He is TJ Perkins. He deserves to still be called TJ Perkins. But those three against Rich Swann, Cedric Alexander, and Akira Tozawa with Titus O'Neil. And they announced that tonight on 205 Live, which I'm not going to be watching, they're going to have a match between Akira Tozawa and Arya Daivari, and the winner faces Neville at SummerSlam. Just give it to Tozawa. And again, this match didn't really care too much. The face team won. Good. Tozawa gets the pinfall, giving him some momentum going into his match against Neville tonight on 205 Live. So we'll see what happens. Just have Neville and Tozawa have a match. Probably be on the pre-show at SummerSlam, but that's that. Didn't really care too much. And then we get this Miz TV segment, which I know a lot of people didn't really like this segment. They think that Jason Jordan does have work to do with his mic skills. I can agree, but, it was still fresh. It was new. This typical, Miz being the jerk of an A-lister he is. As the Miz continues, he's been toned down a lot on Raw. We missed his SmackDown run when he was putting up some of the best mic work we've seen, not just in his career, but of anybody. And he pretty much just rip Jason Jordan to shreds first, saying, you need help. Why don't you join the Miz Taraj? And he declined, saying, I'm good, thank you though. And then the Miz just ripped into him, pretty much just saying how, oh, you're going to get all this stuff you want only because you're Kurt Angle's father. And he starts insulting Kurt Angle, all that stuff. And then Jason Jordan saying is like, enough. And he's like, you can say what you want about me, but if you say anything about Kurt, it's not going to end nicely. So then Miz just has Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel back off, but then he tries to attack Jordan, and then the Miz does and then Jordan catches the Miz for a belly-to-belly suplex and just escapes the ring. Again, he is quick. Jason Jordan can move pretty quick. And I see potential in Jason Jordan. And I know the hype for this wasn't quite as good whenever it was revealed that Jason Jordan was Kurt Angle's illegitimate son. And I know Jordan has some work to do with his promo skills, but I still see good potential. Jason Jordan. This could be a good feud, something fresh with the Miz, something fresh with Jason Jordan, and get him in the Intercontinental title hunt. Maybe he'll win it at SummerSlam. We'll see what happens, but I'm still interested to see what happens. This was still a decent segment. I liked it. Let's see where it goes from here. We then have some highlight reels that happened throughout the night with showing advertising for the big triple threat match between Roman Reigns. We had his now, and then later we had Samoa Joe and Braun Strowman to stay in their case about how they're going to run through them tonight and get some momentum going. He doesn't care, what it is. Braun strapped in Seth and Joe's way, so Joe's looking forward to putting somebody to sleep tonight. Roman's so appropriate that it is his yard now, and then Braun's looking forward to destroying people. So those are good ways to hype it up. And then we had Seth Rollins versus Sheamus with Cesaro in an okay match. Wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either. I enjoyed it for what it was. Seth Rollins gets the win via pinfall. He just rolled up Sheamus with a small package. Again, decent match. Cesaro tried distracting Seth Rollins a little bit, but after the match, Cesaro and Sheamus did a nice little beatdown on Seth Rollins, and we're all chanting for Ambrose, hoping he would come out. He didn't at first. Then Sheamus started walking away, and they pretty much decided, let's do a little bit more to go back out. And then Ambrose came out and actually started attacking Sheamus and Cesaro. He hesitated, but then he still came out, and he started beating him down. So, why did Dean come out if he doesn't want anything to do with Seth Rollins? Well, it seems like, we'll talk about that when we get to a backstage segment they had later. But, again, all right match, nothing special, but it was still good enough to, start an interesting feud between two former Shield members and Sheamus and Cesaro. Then we had Samoa Joe talking over his highlight reel and about winning at SummerSlam. And then we had a promo with Bray Wyatt, pretty much getting the wheels turning for his feud with him and Finn Balor. He says that this place is not safe for Finn Balor. Finn is nothing but an ordinary man who does extraordinary things. Bray sees him for what he truly is, a shell of a man that he never was. Soon enough, Finn shows. Yeah. But yeah, so pretty much saying, Finn's a fraud for what he really is. And I think this is all pretty much teasing that at SummerSlam, not only will we be getting this Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt, we'll be getting the Demon Finn Balor. That's right, the Demon, not the Demon King, the Demon Finn Balor against Bray Wyatt. And then the lights go out, and instead of just cutting straight to the entrance for Balor, they do the way it was down in NXT, the heartbeats, and take a little bit longer music. I thought maybe we're going to get the Demon himself now, but keep it off till SummerSlam probably. But Balor did appear when the lights came back on, right behind Bray. Is backpacking towards him, putting his arms out like this, and Bray was about to attack Finn, and Finn just out of the blue just finally moved and did a Pele kick and did a nice little beatdown on Bray Wyatt, setting him into the crowd. And yeah, that's pretty much just a way just to get the wheels turning a little bit more with this feud. I look forward to seeing these two collide, these two dark characters collide at SummerSlam, which will be Bray Wyatt versus the Demon Finn Balor. And then it was advertised next was the triple threat match. The match that was the moment of the night between Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, and Samoa Joe. What a match. This was three heavyweights in a very physical match, bringing the best out of all of them. Joe was laying it into them. Roman was solid. Braun was the monster as always. There was a spot at the beginning where, Braun had Roman and Joe thrown out of the ring, and every time they tried to step back onto the apron, Braun just pushed them off. So it came to a short time wherever Roman and Joe actually teamed up to go up against Braun and try to take him out before they started working on each other. And then it worked down to the ring and got out into the crowd. And then there was a spot where Joe tried putting a coquina clutch on Braun against the padded wall, the barricade. I'm sorry, I'm really out of it right now. Against the barricade. It was just a really fun and physical match to watch between three guys who really know how to wrestle. Joe Swanton bombs, Braun Strowman with the stairs. It looked like towards the end of the match that he was going to pretty much kill Roman Reigns with the stairs, but then Reigns hit the Superman punch and threw the stairs right into Strowman before hitting the spear on Samoa Joe to get the win. Again, I don't care that Roman won. It was just a great match. This could mean Roman may not be winning the title at SummerSlam, and a lot of people don't want to see it, but if it happens, it's fine as long as him and Brock don't wrestle each other at WrestleMania 34. But overall, great match of the night. And you know what? It felt like the end of the show right there. And that's how it should have been. If that would have ended, this would have been a really good show. But no, we got to this dreadful third hour that everything that happened, except for one thing, I just did not care at all. We had Elias Sampson. Now, apparently, he's only known as just Elias. Why? Let me look on the WWE roster right now and see if he's listed as Elias Sampson or just Elias. Because he didn't say, hello, my name is Elias Sampson. He just said Elias. But I'm going to be honest, though, I actually am enjoying what they're doing with Elias Sampson. Him coming out, playing these songs beforehand. He did technically win his feud over Finn Balor. But, yep, see, he's listed as just Elias. Not Elias Sampson anymore, just Elias. Makes no sense at all. Who knows? I remember Dan, the Lex Man, a couple of people on Twitter were just saying, here, let's come around with just first names just for everyone. Like, if I was in wrestling, I would just be Mike. Enzo Amore would just be Enzo. Big Show would just be Show. WWE's getting even more and more bland with their product. They just stopped using Pyro also. And now they're going to call Elias Sampson just Elias. What's next? Or no, actually, you want to talk about just one name for all the wrestlers. Why did you add Flair onto Charlotte? He should have been just Charlotte because she was just fine as Charlotte. You didn't have to make her Charlotte Flair. She's Charlotte. That one's fine, but dropping the Sampson from Elias to Elias? Are you going to call Dean Ambrose just Ambrose? Seth Rollins just going to be Rollins now? Roman Reigns is going to be called just Roman? Doesn't make any sense at all to me. But he wrote a song about his hometown, Pittsburgh, PA, because he is from Pittsburgh. And he just pretty much just made fun of the people. He made fun of the Pirates. I got a crack out of that. But then I thought, okay, who's going to face here? And then here out comes Kalisto. Match was really boring. Didn't really care too much. I believe Elias Sampson won. Did he? Yes, he wins via through pinfall. But I am a little more interested in Elias Sampson. They've been doing decent with him, but he's just Elias now, so we'll see where they go. But this match didn't really care. Did nothing. Or this could have been on main event instead of the tag cruiserweight match or Mickie James versus Emma, which once again was a really good match, but no. And then we have this backstage segment where Alexa Bliss is asked about facing Bayley again, and Bayley's saying, Alexa Bliss is like, I've already overcome Bayley. I have nothing to worry about, blah, blah, blah. Sasha Banks probably whining this, and that. Pretty much just Sasha Banks still trying to, get in the mind of, Alexa Bliss was trying to get in the head of Sasha Banks, and she's trying to toy with the friendship between the two of them. I feel like that, there's still personal issues going on between Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks, and I think that somehow Sasha Banks will be added into the Raw Women's Championship match. It's going to be a triple threat between Alexa Bliss, Bayley, and Sasha Banks, which SummerSlam could be the time when Sasha finally turns heel on Bayley, the long-awaited heel turn. But then she said, that, Bayley will have to warm up to her as she faces Nia Jax tonight, and Nia just groaned. How many more times are we going to see this match? It was good in London, but after that, they've never had a good match. Never. It's just, so that was that. And then here was the only thing I enjoyed about the third hour of Raw. It was this backstage segment with Seth thanking Dean for trying to help him, and Dean said it wasn't for him. Dean says the only reason he came out there is that Seth put him in a position that if he didn't come out, that he would look like a bad guy. So he better be able to handle the next fight he picks. Pretty much just so it could be an excuse. Is Ambrose really, have that soft spot in him that wants to get back together? Or, or it also shows that Ambrose listens to the crowd pretty much realistically as a character. So I mean, again, as I keep saying, we'll see what happens. I mean, it looks like they're going to go with Ambrose and Rollins going to fight Sheamus and Cesaro for the tag titles at SummerSlam. Give them a short little run with it, see what happens, and yeah, we'll go from there and see how this pans out for each two of them, and hopefully lead to an eventual match between the two with the roles reversed. We had not Nia Jax. Wow, see, I can't even talk about this match now. Nia Jax versus Bayley, boring, same old crap, pitiful. Bayley won after Nia Jax was counted out. Alexa Bliss came to the ring. Match was flat, didn't care at all. So, yeah, after the match, Alexa tries to attack Bayley, but Bayley escapes. And then we have a backstage promo with Big Cass being interviewed by Renee Young. And yeah, pretty much saying the same old crap as he's been saying. But yeah, so that, and then it led to the main event between Big Cass and Big Show with Enzo Amore in Big Show's corner. And I mean, the match itself was all right until, you know, Enzo came in and interfered. But I couldn't really get into this match. Because one, I didn't understand the main event. And two, just Enzo getting involved in it. And then it pretty much looked like a big burial of Big Cass, pretty much. It just, I don't know. I just had the bad taste in my mouth already from what had happened, and it just didn't quite fit. So, I mean, didn't really care too much. Disqualification. Oh, Robbie's in the live chat. Hey, Mike, great response to my video about my problems with the current WWE. Thank you very much. Sure thing, Robbie. And say it with me. Yes, I will say it. Crispy, tangy, honey mustard barbecue flavor. I had some plain chicken earlier today, but probably pick up some wings tomorrow night for a little treat for me. I wouldn't mind grabbing some from Buffalo Wild Wings. But, yep, that's pretty much what happened that third hour. So that is it for my live review of this episode of Raw, which should have only been 2 hours because the first 2 hours were really good. But then that third hour just went, it just crashed. And before I go off the air, I want to pull up my Twitter polls from last night's from last night's Raw. I did 3 polls last night because I wanted to see what you guys thought about this show altogether. So let me see here. How many votes do I have? I had a couple votes for these. So I had 3 votes for what was the overall grade you would give Raw tonight. And there was only 3 votes. So one said B, one said C, the other said D. Nobody said A, which is a huge surprise. I'm surprised no one tried to comment saying F for overall grade. But I don't think it was, again, despite that third hour, it was still a good show. So it wasn't that bad for me. And then I said, with 4 votes for this one, I said, what grade would you give the first 2 hours of Raw tonight? Again, there's 4 votes, 25%. So one person said A, 2 people said B, no one said C, 1 person though said D. A little bit of a surprise, but I respect your opinion there. And my last one was, what grade would you give the third hour of Raw tonight? I had 9 votes on this. Nobody said A or B. Nobody said D. We had 22% say C. 78% said F. Yes, that is right. Whoever said that, you guys got that one right. That was terrible. Robbie says, hey, Mike, if you were going to SummerSlam this year, who would you meet at the meet and greet? Maybe Seth Rollins? Dean Ambrose? Any of the Shield members? I want to meet them. Finn Balor. Well, it depends who's all there, though. I mean, I'm not sure who's all going to be there. But yeah, let's go with the Shield, any of the Shield guys right now, because they're probably like next on my list for guys I would like to meet. But that's my thoughts. Overall grade, I would give Raw in Pittsburgh tonight last night would be a C+. Again, thank you all who tuned in live, and for Robbie for leaving his comments in the live chat as well. As always, please click that like and subscribe button for more content to come on this channel. Again, I'm not sure I'll be able to catch SmackDown live tonight, like right away. Again, I have a lot of stuff I need to take care of for work right tonight, so I'll take care of that, and then I will catch SmackDown live. I will do a live review of SmackDown either later on tonight or sometime tomorrow, hopefully not as late as it was today. And thank you guys for your patience. Thank you guys for tuning in, for the support as well. And with that, guys, I will see you all later. Take care, guys.